So picture this. Imagine you're at the top of a steep snow hill and you make a small snowball and you roll it down that hill. It starts off small and then it begins to pick up as the hill gets steeper, but along with it rolling down the hill, it's picking up more snow, getting bigger, building more momentum. So now it's more weight being added to it, rolling down this steep hill, and the further it goes, the steeper the hill gets, the bigger the ball gets, and the faster it rolls. It gets down the hill faster than how it moved when it started. And you can compare that to consistency. You can compare that to momentum. Momentum is so crucial in becoming successful in any avenue that you do in life. All it takes is you starting and sticking with it and compounding and getting better each day. For another analogy, let's take old cars, for example. I've heard stories of people saying where they couldn't get their car to start, what they would do is put it in neutral and they push it, and then get in and turn the key, and the car would turn on, the ignition would turn over, and the car would start driving as normal. And it's just funny because it just needed a little bit of a push, an edge, some movement to get it started up, and then it could take off and move on its own from there. And that's just the second analogy that you can use to just see how important momentum is, how important the concept of momentum is to every area of life, from something as small as a car or a snowball to something as big as success in your life and in your business. So what today's video is going to be talking about is the importance and the power of momentum and how to stay consistent. The hardest part of doing anything is starting. So the problem that most people tend to have is that every time they start over, they're redoing the hardest part, and that's why it feels so hard. And each time you got to redo whatever you stopped, it feels so unmotivating because you're constantly redoing the hard part over and over again, when instead you could just do it, start that first time, make this day one, and just stay consistent. Don't go for the big goal. You don't have to try to shoot for your home runs, your Hail Marys for everything all the time, but instead focus on just getting 1% better, 2% better each day, and those small wins begin to compound. The most successful people didn't become successful in one big leap, but they did small things, took small steps, made small leaps over time. Stay consistent with small things, small wins, and those small wins compounded to build these big wins that you see today. These big successful companies, these big successful brands, these successful people did not become successful in just one big leap, but they stayed consistent. They stayed with something for a long enough period of time, and all of that compounded for them to become the successful person that you see today, whether on social media, on the news, on TV, or just in life. It came from small wins and staying consistent over time, building that momentum, getting 1% better each day. The 1% turns to 2%, and 2% turns to 4%, the 4% turns to 8%, and you get the gist. So momentum is so powerful, it's so important, and it goes hand in hand with consistency. And these two are like yin and yang. They bounce off each other, and the perfect combination of them creates something that you could never have imagined. So today's video is really going to be more so on what it takes to build that momentum and how to stay consistent, how to hold yourself accountable, and how to get 1% better each day, how to get 2% better each day, and to have those small wins compound, so that starting today on January 20th, 2025, a year from now, you're going to look back 365 days from today. So January 20th, 2026, you're going to look back and it's going to feel like it happened so quick. But you stopped looking at the big wins, you started taking the small wins, you started getting 1% better each day. 1% better for the next 365 days equals 365% better. If you aren't successful or better than the person you were today, you got a problem. It's impossible. It's impossible for you to not be better if you just focus on getting 1% better for the next 365 days. So I've told you guys the importance of momentum, how powerful the concept of momentum is in any area, in any avenue of life. So now, momentum just starts with you starting. That first initial roll down the hill is just making today day one. Stop putting off things that you want to do. Stop waiting for the perfect time. Perfection is just procrastination with another name. Stop focusing on getting everything right and just do it. Just start. Just roll it down the hill. Just roll that snowball down the hill. Just start pushing that car. And then after starting, what you do is you stay on it. You stay consistent. You hold yourself accountable. You may be asking, how do I do it? I've tried and I just can't ever seem to get it right. I always fall off after X, Y. I always fall off after so long. I always fall off after this period of time. I don't see the results and I get so discouraged. I get so unmotivated and I can't make it any further. Well, let me tell you, stop looking at the end result. If you learn to fall in love with the process, to fall in love with the program, you won't even look at the end result. The end result becomes a byproduct. So how do we do this? What I do personally is I track everything that I want to do. I track the progress. I track the process of my goals. And with me following that process, with me staying disciplined, with me staying consistent and doing the daily actionable steps that I set for myself based on my goal, every day that I do that, those are my small wins. Those are my 1% wins each and every day that make me feel good, that give me that good feeling, that keep me encouraged, that keep me motivated to keep moving, because now I'm not focused on the goal that I haven't seen yet, but I'm focusing on the actionable steps, the daily non-negotiables, the daily steps, the daily actions to push me towards my goal, so that I just know that the goal is going to happen as a byproduct of my work, that it's impossible for me to fail, that the goal is inevitable as long as I put in the work. I do the daily actions, the daily non-negotiables. So how do you get your own daily action? How do you get your own daily non-negotiables? And when it comes to setting goals, you have to be very specific. I'm not talking about vague goals or ballpark range saying you want to do this. No, you need to get very specific, very detailed. So if you want to make $100,000 in 2025, make that a goal. If you want to buy a specific type of car, not just a fancy car, what year, make, model car do you want to buy? The more specific you get, the easier it is for you to make these actionable daily steps that you can take to get closer to the goal. So now once you get your goals, what you're going to do is you're going to break down those goals. You're going to look at, so imagine it as a diagram. You got the big goal at the top. Boom. Now you got the branches. Now you think about what are some things that you can do every single day to ensure that you get to that goal. So for example, say you want to grow your personal brand, your follower count across all social media platforms. What does it take to grow a personal brand? Instead of looking at how many followers you have each and every single day and being discouraged because that number only goes up or down 1 or 2 followers a day, start looking at the inputs that you can put in to get to that goal. So if you want to build a personal brand, you have to post at least once every single day. If you're not doing that much, you're not trying. So look at that actionable step. Post at least one piece of content on all platforms every single day. Engage with content on platforms every single day. Practice editing your videos to get better edits. Focus on making high quality videos. These things are steps, and then you can even break these steps out into even more deeper steps to really break it down to the nitty gritty and find true actionable steps that will make you, 1, better in the area that you want to pursue, but 2, make sure you hit your goal as a byproduct of you putting those inputs in. So whatever big goal you have, get specific with it. That way you can break down these actionable steps. So you start with the goal, you take the goal, you break it down into actionable steps. And if you even want to go further, you can break it down to even more actionable steps to ensure that you hit your goal as a byproduct of the inputs that you put in. All it takes from that point on is just holding yourself accountable to it, staying consistent, doing it each and every day, regardless of how you feel. Fuck your feelings. Your feelings do not matter. What matters is the result, and the result comes from the work you do. Regardless if you don't feel like doing it, if you're tired, if you're sad, if you're angry, if you're mad, if you're happy, you should do it every day, no matter what, in spite of what the world throws at you, in spite of what you feel, because your emotions and your feelings will hold you back. The moment you begin to let those go, you will excel greatly in life. Personally, what I do is to make sure I hold myself accountable and to stay consistent on my goals. I use a habit tracker. I have a daily habit tracker and I have a weekly habit tracker. So any kind of habit, any kind of goal I set for myself, I've already broken down my action steps into daily actionable steps and non-negotiables that if I do every single day, my goal is inevitable to come to fruition. And I just do that every single day and I'm satisfied. It's a successful day for me when I check off every habit, every actionable step of my goals each and every day. That's my gratification. That's my feeling good. That's what makes me feel good. That's what makes me know that I'm doing the right thing. That's what gives me an insight to my progress. That's what lets me know if I'm getting closer to my goal, if I'm going further back, or I'm staying stagnant. And you can do this yourself. You can set one up in Google Sheets, you can set up in Excel, or you can do it like me and set it up in the Notion app. Just depends on how you want to do it. It's plenty of videos on how to make it. So just find somebody that'll teach you how to make the template on any platform that you want to do it on, and just and you input those actionable steps into the habit tracker, and just stay consistent. You check as soon as you finish the task, check it off. It's like a win. Those are small wins. Those compound. You get 1% better each day. I'm telling you, for 365 days, you get 365% better. If you're not doing what you want to do, if you're not better in that field, if you're not successful in that field, if you're not getting some form of success in that field, then I don't know what you need to do. You might need to go find a real job. You might need to give up because you're just not built for it. But if you stay consistent and you see that change, that should be more than enough to keep you motivated, to keep you rolling, and to make you see just how important that concept of momentum and consistency is in your life.